and shit. But like,
just closer
the
to
body
That's what I'm saying.
count.
Like, why is he body shaming people?
Who?
Like,
What?
don't get too fat.
That's not body
don't
shaming.
sleep
That's
around.
just
I
kind
would
of
say
facts,
that's kind of
isn't
body
it?
shaming because, like, he's saying that.
or no,
fat is-
slut shaming
Again,
was the
it's a
word.
preference.
Slut
Yeah.
shaming.
Again, yeah, personal preference. That's what it comes down to. Guys.
Wait, I question for you, Brian. You said that's not body shaming. He's saying don't get too fat. What do
Yeah.
you mean by
Yeah, what
that's
do you mean
not
that's not
body
body
shaming?
shaming?
And then that's like you just said that.
so-
Okay, if he were to have called
No, that's body
me
shaming.
a fat whore, that would be body shaming. But saying don't get fat,
But as a way
that's
to
just-
attract the
that's
best
just-
mate. That's saying that you cannot have weight on your body to attract
Yeah,
the
how
best
dare you have
mate.
weight?
You know what I mean?
It's
like,
the
He
reality.
said, but that's
but
just
like, but isn't that come down to
both-
the
but-
subjective,
It is a
objective?
societal beauty standard, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Well, it's-
we bring up a good point. Society tends
Okay,
to be
forget-
fat
hold on.
phobic.
That's
Yo,
true.
You are correct, Brian.
It's
Society's
not-
fat phobic.
it's it's
They
not
are,
fat
that's true.
phobia. Hold on, let me talk. It's not fat phobia. It's not even a social construct. Being overweight on its face is unhealthy.
There are some guys who are into that.
We're not talking about that.
Oh, those
but
are
yes,
I mean,
there
we were,
there
huge,
we
like,
were talking
300
about that, and
Hold
you've
on.
changed the subject.
No, but yes, okay, there are men that are attracted
comes down to personal
there's
preference.
chubby chasers, there's men who are like thick women, whatever you want to call it. However, if you are too fat or overweight or obese, you are necessarily unhealthy.
But
not
see,
necessarily,
that's
especially
subjective.
if you
depending
are-
on how you define fat.
Yeah, and see, that's subjective to the person.
Let's try to have a
Some people would say that I'm fat.
logical
And there was a
perspective.
minute when I struggled with eating disorders and I was under 100 pounds. I was dramatically underweight. And that at the time, that was the expected societal beauty standard. And now people would consider me fat. So yeah, if someone called me a fat whore, for example, that is absolutely body shaming.
Okay, but let's maybe see if
Or
we can
Neko, for instance, is perfectly healthy. She's been to her physicals.
Oh,
you're
you would
incredibly healthy.
If I told, okay, I will give some background. I've been an athlete my entire life. My number weight is something that I have struggled with a lot. And when I went on the Fresh and Fit podcast, I did read a lot of comments, and they were all calling me a whale. I'm serious. I get called a whale. I get called Shamu. Like I get called
my
so
God.
many things because
I gotta
men,
deal with hate every day.
like men do think
It's not
that I'm
right.
fat. And guess
It
what?
sucks.
You know
It
what?
sucks all
around.
I am proud to say I'm over 200 pounds. I don't care. I'm over 200 pounds. I feel beautiful.
That's
I
right.
feel sexy. And my partner
You are.
loves me the way I am because the weight number does not define the way, like, everyone carries weight differently on their body. You know what I mean? And yeah, ultimately, what is too fat for you is going to be a personal preference, which is circling back to the point that generalizing things can hurt you.
Next question.
But let's talk about so you don't think obesity is unhealthy?
That's not what we're saying.
That's not
What?
what's the. That's.
Okay.
I don't think that
I
was
think we
the
should
case.
move on.
I
I
think
like-
we were
I
obesity.
talking
this
about
question.
body shaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And fat phobia.
Yeah.
And to a degree, you told me that body shaming doesn't exist.
Well, you're putting words in my mouth. I never said that.
Repeat what you. I mean, I wish we
Repeat
could play it back,
what-
but
What do you think I said? You think I said body shaming doesn't exist?
No.
you said that if someone were to call you a fat whale, that would be
Fat whore.
Oh,
Get it
pardon
correct.
my verbiage.
Get it right.
If someone were to
Fat
call you
whore.
a fat whore, that would be body shaming. But
Yes.
if someone were to say that to someone who was
Don't get too fat.
200 pounds, sorry,
Oh.
excuse me, 200 pounds,
That's not what I said.
okay.
He was saying that
No.
don't
I
get
was
too
saying-
fat is not
I
considered
was
body
saying
shaming.
literally
because
what he said. Advising someone to not get too fat is not body shaming. And by the way, the body shaming movement originally was about things that were out of your control, not about weight, which is in your control.
To a degree.
Body
I mean,
shaming
you
had
have
to.
hyperthyroidism.
I do
But
have
you guys body
hypothyroidism.
shame guys who are short all the time.
We never said that we
Okay,
did that.
so
height
hold on,
shaming.
Bruh.
hold on. You just brought up hypothyroidism. Hypo.
hyper.
No, hyper.
Hypo.
No, hypo would be you have difficulty losing weight. I have hypothyroidism. I take.
Are you medicated?
I do. I take.
Oh, well,
That's
that's
why you
great.
don't struggle
That's
with
why
weight.
you don't have any
there
issues,
are a
though.
ton of people that are
no, even with
unmedicated.
Well,
It
first
directly
off,
affects-
hold
Let
on,
him
no,
finish,
hold
let
on.
him
Let me finish.
Okay.
First off, thyroid medication is
It sucks.
super.
It sucks.
Well, it's very cheap.
Just let him finish.
It's very cheap. Yeah, can you guys stop interrupting, please? Okay. So, you brought up hypothyroidism. So, one, it's treatable.
Totally.
Okay, but So if you take medication, even with medication though, I struggle with my weight a little bit. So, however, if I adhere to a strict healthy diet, I can lose weight.
Sure.
And right now I'm on a diet. I ate too much over the holidays. I gained some weight. I was eating like shit. I've been eating well for the past month. I'm like down already like 7 pounds or some shit because I was eating a lot of carbs. Let me tell you that. So weight is something that's 100% in your control. You wanted to bring up hypothyroidism as an example. Most people who are overweight do not have hypothyroidism or some sort of other. By the way, I also have aside from just hypothyroidism, I have a fracture in L5S1. Literally have a broken back.
That's
That
awful.
hurts.
Yeah, so if I want to lose weight, it's hard for me to do it through
Good for you,
exercise.
for doing the
So
work.
I need to do it primarily through diet.
Totally.
So I my own experience, it's not about exercise. It comes down to diet. As someone who's literally been stuck, I haven't shared this much before. I was stuck in bed for like 9 months with a broken back. Bad times. I've gotten better, but
Congratulations.
I'm
Good for
basically
you. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Congratulations.
That's just really
Incredible.
crazy.
But what I'm trying to say is look, I wasn't obese to begin with, but I have to rely strictly on diet to lose weight, basically.
Totally.
So weight is 100% something that's in your control. Bringing it back to body shaming. Body shaming originally was about people who had scars and things that they couldn't control, like a deformity. That's what body positivity was originally about. It wasn't about weight.
Okay. Did we
Sure,
have more
but-
of those super things to go through?
What?
I feel like we've just like talked this to death about weight.
Well, I'm gonna. This is my podcast.
I'm just
This is
saying,
my
like-
podcast. I'm gonna.
I mean, for sure.
Okay.
Well, say whatever.
Just you're not the host.
I'm
I'm
not,
gonna
no.
talk about it. I mean, I was gonna move on to the stuff. You don't need to moderate here.
I'm not moderating. I was just really getting uncomfortable with the topic.
Uncomfortable with the topic?
He was talking about his whole
No, I know,
health
I know.
journey,
I would just like to move on if that's okay.
bro.
Well, I think so. I don't know if anyone else wanted to add, but I was actually about to move on. Anyways, so